But environmental scanning is a place where you see a lot of questions. And this is basically, we want to get information from the external environment as well as the internal environment. But most questions I see focus mainly on external when it comes to environmental scanning. So with environmental scanning, what is the information we need to know as a business? Let's say we have a business kind of like Starbucks. That's our business. And so now, what are the things from the environment we need to know that would help us be able to have a strategy that would win, a winning strategy? And in environmental scanning, you have different tools. That's where you have the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. That's why, and then I want to say this real quick. Strengths and weaknesses have to do with the inside of the organization. Opportunities and threats have to do with the outside of the organization. All right, so strategy formulation. Now we have all that information from everywhere. These are the things we need to know, things going on, the SWOT analysis, the PEST analysis, the Porter's 5 forces. We'll talk about that as we go. Now we have all this information. Let's form our strategy formulation. Here we want to determine what's our vision, aspirational into the future. What's our mission? That's the purpose that the organization exists, the reason why the organization exists. What's going to be our values? We want to have integrity, we want to make sure that we treat our customers right. What's going to be our corporate goals? Now, strategy implementation. So here we're going to start breaking down that big strategic goal that we made in the strategy formulation. We want to start breaking it down for all the different departments. And in some questions, they will not say departments, they will say functions. So the HR function, the production function, the marketing function. Some people are used to saying department, marketing department, HR department. But if you see function, don't get thrown off. It's just the same as saying department. So now we have this corporate goal. We're breaking it down to short-term objectives, long-term objectives, action plans. This is what, and now the difference between a goal and an objective is that the objective is a broken down form of a goal. It's more specific. Goals are usually very, very broad. They don't have measurements, but objectives will say in 2 years, we're going to open 5 stores. You see those numbers? So objectives are very specific, very measurable. And then you have the action plans, which is a further breakdown of what you have in terms of the objectives. Now, action plan is, okay, now in 2 years, we're going to do this. What do we need to do right now? Right now, we need to recruit people that would man those stores or things like that. And then you have the resources allocated, you're motivating people, you're allocating people the tasks they need to do. Now in strategy evaluation, we now need to review our performance. How did we do in terms of all the things that we implemented? How did we do? What are the corrective actions that need to be taken? And strategy evaluation does not happen at the end. It should happen as you go. So that's usually a trick question. They will say like strategy evaluation should happen at the end of the year. No, the correct way is that as you go, you're evaluating what you're doing and seeing and trying to see if you need to take corrective action as well, so that you can change quickly and not wait till things have gotten haywire or so bad. All right, I want to make this a slideshow. All right, can you guys see it better now?
Yes.
Yes, looks good.
All right. Okay, I'm just gonna move this. All right, so management functions, like what does a manager do? Planning, organizing, leading, directing, controlling. Planning involves you're making forecasts, you're setting your goals, what's gonna be our budget, what are the actions we intend for people to do. Then organizing is where you start directing the people to do this or to do that. So here you begin to put human resources to those goals. This person will do this person will do that. This is the task for you. And then with directing or leading, you're usually coaching people, motivating people, ensuring that they're working towards that goal by making, if they have questions, they come to you, you coach them, you let them know the right thing. Then controlling, make sure that everything we're doing is in accordance to the plan that we initially had. So if we had a plan at this stage, this planning stage, controlling makes sure that as people are carrying out those plans, that they are making sure that you're making sure it's being done according to that plan. Now, if there are some things that need to change, because change always happens, something has changed, you could make that change happen as well. But controlling, you're making sure that people are not deviating from the standards you have set. They're not deviating from the goals. So you're making sure that you're checking for errors, making sure that you're taking corrective action and things are going according to plan. All right. Now, this is going to be our first set of questions. To ensure the success of a team building effort, organizers in HR need to do what? Reward employees for participation, indicate to employees that their participation is required, indicate to employees that their participation is required, take pre and post measures of the impact of the program, solicit management support for the program. I think we kind of already touched on this. Okay, I might have to come out of here because I need to do this. So we already said that when it comes to you making sure that you want to succeed, the most important thing is getting management support. So you want to make sure that management support what you do. They're not going to put their money in that. And then you may not even have the team building effort at all. So you could organize and put all that together. But if management is saying that, no, that's not where we're going, then it just fails. So getting management support is the most important thing. That's what ensures the success of any team building or recruiting or training program that HR is doing. All right. So which of the following is not one of Porter's 5 forces? And it's B, the threat of changing cultures. And the next slide talks about Porter's 5 forces, but this guy, Michael Porter, he had 5 forces that have to do with environmental scanning. It's an environmental scanning tool. And those 5 forces, like you see here, threat of new entrants. If you have a business, a threat for you could be those that are coming into that same business. And then you have threat of substitute products. If what you're selling is, let's say, dresses, and people say, you know what, there are other things we could wear. We could wear skirts, we could wear blouses. That's a threat to your business because now you have substitute products. If people take coffee and then there's a substitute product of tea and people are like, tea is healthier, that's a substitute product. Now, bargaining power of the buyers, the buyers could decide that, oh, we're not going to buy from you. And this is happening a lot with things like where you hear sexual harassment happening in a company, or a company did this, or maybe they're not having their suppliers look through whether they're going through child labor. You could have buyers decide they're not buying from this company anymore. Then bargaining power of suppliers, the suppliers as well, those who supply you your product. Now think of a coffee company like Starbucks. They are being supplied those coffee beans. If the supplier says that, you know what, you're paying us too low for this coffee beans, we want to sell to someone else, that's also a bargaining power. And then you have the threat of established rivals. So there are some people who have already been in that business. They're also a threat to that business. So it's a tool. It's used for environmental scanning during the strategic planning process. You also have SWOT, PESTLE, which we'll talk about as we go. So this is what it looks like. And you can see how it talks about the threat of new entrants, what that could be, the barriers to entry, brand loyalty. I'm not going to delve too deep on this, but just giving you guys an idea of what he meant about the 5 forces that could threaten a business. So competition could threaten them, the bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, competition, new entrants, substitute products. All right, let's try this question. The HR director of a multinational corporation involved in the production of self-driving vehicles has advised that in the corporation's expansion drive to Southeast Asia, a PESTLE analysis should be done as this will have a profound impact on the organization's chances of success and performance. Which of the following points raised by the HR director will fall under an economic element that should be included in a PESTLE analysis? I don't know if you guys notice I put an emphasis on economic elements because that's a keyword here. So sometimes you see questions, they have all this many words and the HR director, Southeast Asia. But I always want you guys to look at the last phrase. This question, this portion is the most important. Now, all this is key as well, but you always want to say, what is, at the end of the day, what is the question asking of me? So now it's saying that which of this will fall under the economic element, and that's what we're looking for. So A says efficient use of existing public infrastructure investments and asset management, consumer behavior considerations on the price point at which it will make sense to transition to self-driving vehicles, replacing existing jobs to long-distance transportation in taxi industries, future advances in AI, which is artificial intelligence, will greatly increase the effectiveness of self-driving cars. Now, when you see all of this could throw you off and you're like, oh, this is so much information. Now we have to look for keywords again. Just this word price point, is enough for us to see that this has to do with the economy. It has to do with an economic element. Now, this talks about public infrastructure, so kind of like more of political in that area, then replacing existing jobs, future advances in AI, this is like technological. So let's look at the answer. Here it says that a PESTLE analysis, this is also a type of environmental scanning. It's a tool for environmental scanning. So it's a tool, it's used to analyze, monitor the external environmental factors. And PESTLE stands for political. You have to check what's going on in the political arena: economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. So before you had PEST, but now you have PESTLE, which is environmental and legal as well. Now, economic factors will look at exchange rates, inflation rates, interest rates, disposable income, price index, unemployment rates. So consumer behavior on price points, that will be an economic factor. So that's why B is the right answer here. And then you have efficient use of public infrastructure. That would be a political factor because that's what the political arena would look at. That's what the government would take more interest in. Then you have replacing existing jobs. That's a social factor. Future advances in AI, that's a technological factor.